All right. So, Andrew, what's been overall your take on the NCAA tournament? I mean, are you surprised or actually, pretty? Are you pretty sure of the teams that actually aren't going to end up being in the Final Four? What's been your overall take on the tournament so far?
Well, I think that the whole season there really hadn't been a clear number one team. I mean, the standings flip flopped pretty much every week. So I felt like there was a lot of parity going into the tournament, and I think that I was expecting a lot of upsets. I didn't really know where they would come from. I definitely didn't see Wichita State going to the Final Four. I definitely didn't see Michigan beating up on Florida the way they're beating up on them. I don't know. I think that that's with most of these tournaments. And it really just is whichever team hits their stride for this tournament can string together those 6 games. And yeah, it's been fun to watch, but I don't know how surprised I am. I mean, I didn't think there were any clear favorites.
Right. And Evan, same with you, or what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with some of the points Andrew touched upon. I mean, NCAA, it's called March Madness for a reason. There are definitely some big time upsets every year. They're always impossible to predict, but just like Andrew said, Wichita State, I don't think anybody had in their Final Four this year. Harvard winning the first round. Wisconsin losing in the first round. I personally had Indiana in the finals in both my bracket, and they didn't even make it past the Sweet 16 there. So it's been as always a crazy year and always a lot of fun to follow.
Right. So who did you guys? Who'd you each have picked? Victor, who'd you have picked for the Final Four?
I also had Indiana,
Uh
I
huh.
had Duke, Florida, and I had Wisconsin.
And Blinder, who'd you have?
Well, I had two brackets, but I had Indiana winning both. I had Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Louisville in one, and then I had Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan, Duke, and I believe Michigan as well. I forgot who the fourth team was in that one, but a lot of repetitive Indiana, Wisconsin, Louisville, things like that.
Nice. Yeah. So I have right now. I had New Mexico, which got ousted real quick. Louisville, Indiana, and Michigan, and I have Michigan taking the whole thing down against Louisville. So pretty happy to see the halftime score right now with Michigan up by 15. Who do you think's taking down the Florida? It's Florida. Oh, wait, no. Who's Duke playing later tonight?
I believe that who is it? Michigan State,
No, they
No,
play.
they already beat them. They're playing Louisville.
Louisville.
They're playing Louisville next round. Yeah. So who do you each have? Wick, do you have Duke winning that game? Is that what you had in your bracket?
I had that in the bracket. Yeah, this doesn't really matter much to me. I kind of would prefer to see a couple of closer games, like that Michigan game against Kansas. That was a great game. I felt like in this whole tournament there haven't been too many great games, and I would have definitely liked to see more games like that, more thrillers. So I'm just kind of looking for good basketball from here on out.
Right. You in terms of what do you call it? Did you see? Did either you catch the Michigan game from 2 nights ago? That I think was probably the highlight game. I want to think. No.
Yeah, the game against Kansas when they came all the way
Yeah.
back and took it to overtime. That was a great game.
I feel like that's definitely been the best game so far. Although there was a ton of luck involved in it, but I think that's what it's all about.
Haven't been a lot of overtime games this year, which is surprising.
There hasn't been.
No, I don't. I think that Michigan game, I think, was the first game in overtime in the whole.
Right.
Yeah,
Wait.
I think you're right in that one.
Yeah, I don't think any other game went into overtime besides that one. Normally, the first round has two or three at least that go into overtime.
So I mean, ultimately, then who? I mean, who do you think's got the? What about this like Wichita State team? What do you guys? What do you think about them? Do you think that they're primed to like take this thing down. I mean, they looked pretty solid last night. Watching them for the first time in my life.
Yeah, I mean they definitely have a chance. They've beaten some good teams already. I think they've proven themselves yesterday by beating Ohio State. They're a big physical team, so I definitely think that at this point it's the NCAA. They've made it as far as they have. It's up for grabs. It's anybody's tournament at this point, so they have just as good a chance as anybody at this point.
I'm going to kind of disagree on that one. I don't know. I think that they're a pretty decent team, and I think that they're playing well and they're playing good basketball. I don't know who they beat. I mean, they beat Gonzaga, they beat Ohio State, but Ohio State had trouble in the previous 2 rounds. Gonzaga didn't really play anyone during the regular season, and I mean, granted they're definitely a good team, they've got talent, but they're going to end up playing Duke or Louisville, and I think they're going to get stomped out by either of those teams.
And they beat Pittsburgh too in the first round too. I mean, those are three pretty. I mean, like I agree with you. And Gonzaga's not anything special. I think they were the most overrated one seed in tournament history. But Gonzaga, Pittsburgh, and Ohio State. Hey,
no, it's not bad. I'm not disagreeing, but I just don't think that I don't think they're going to do damage. I think that they're going to be the weakest team that makes the Final Four, and I think they're going to lose to either Louisville or Duke, whoever they end up playing.
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
I feel like Gonzaga. I feel like Gonzaga is literally like they just totally screw up every single time they're in the tournament. I don't know. I just get that sense. Like they always seem to have a good regular season, but they scrub it during tournament time.
Because they're in a terrible conference. They don't play good teams in the regular season. So come March and in April when they start playing the good teams in the tournament here, that it's competition they're not used to. They're in the whack. The teams they play are literally whack. So when you come in here and you're playing Big East teams and ACC teams, it's it's kind of a wake up call. It's a whole different ballgame. Different styles of play, different athleticism. It's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, I think I don't know, man. I saw that first Wichita State team, the game that I saw yesterday, with Wichita State. That guy Armstead, I don't know, man. He had a sick and quick crossover. I mean, Victor, you probably relate to that because you have a pretty good crossover. But like his crossover was dope. I was watching this kid just because the guy on Ohio State is filthy. Aaron, whatever his name is, I forget.
Kraft?
Yeah, Kraft. And, like, he was just making him look silly. So, I don't know. I'm actually a little worried if my Michigan team can make it to the finals and have to play that Wichita State team. I'm a little concerned. They look they look solid. I personally think. They have that center he had like 8 blocks yesterday. What's it with the glasses?
Well, I think one of those things that goes back to what you were saying earlier is college teams seem to come out of the gate either really hot or really cold. And I think, Linder, you were touching on the fact that it nerves. And they're playing on national TV. They're playing in front of more people they've ever played in front of in their entire lives. More people are watching, paying attention to the game. And I think that really does have an effect on these kids because they really are kids. I mean, we're older than all the guys playing on the court. Pretty crazy to think about. And I don't know. I think that what happened in that game against Ohio State was they got the crowd behind them. They were the favorites there. I mean, they weren't the favorites there. They were underdogs there. So they were favored by the crowd. And I just think that gets into the minds of a lot of the players, especially on Ohio State. They're young kids.
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming from. There were a lot of Ohio State fans. I don't know if you noticed. That crowd was predominantly red in the beginning of the game. Obviously, everybody roots for the underdog. So as the game went on, more people were cheering for Wichita State. But I agree. The nerves and the hype of the NCAA being on a national stage is a once in a lifetime experience. There's nothing that can ever really compare to something like that. And I think these guys are running on pure adrenaline right now. But sometimes that's all you need. Nobody expected Jason a couple years ago to make that incredible run to the Final Four, and they did. And I think Wichita State is definitely a stronger team than George Mason was a couple years ago. So, who knows at this point? But, I agree there are stronger teams out there, but, it's the NCAA tournament. Who knows what will happen?
Right, but that's the thing. Is in terms of like the playing field, I just feel like it's the margins of the Floridas and the Arizonas, all those top teams every year. And I mean, I'm obviously forgetting like the North Carolina, the Dukes of the world, like those teams versus the Wichita States and the FGCU, like just the level of competition amongst the recruits is just like it's so sky high that all these other smaller schools are getting really solid recruits. I feel like. Do you agree with that?
Well, you're saying in what? You're saying that the talent is diversifying more across the board now?
Yeah, there's just too much talent out there that they all can't go on to these premier schools, so they're finding smaller schools to play for, and that's why they're being as competitive as they are.
Yeah. I mean, I think that has something to do with it. I think that people are also starting to realize and see that look at some of these small schools here. Look at the Wichita State. Look at the Florida Gulf Coast. Some of these smaller schools that are making serious runs in the tournament. It's kind of proving you don't necessarily have to be a Duke or a UNC or one of these big name basket schools to if you're a high talent player to go to one of those big name schools. I think those talented players are seeing that there's opportunity and potential out there, elsewhere, such as some of these smaller schools, where they will get more attention and they will get, more individual attention, I should say. Things like that, depends on the type of player you are, of course.
Yeah, it's like the big fish in a small pond argument. I mean, you get noticed more, you get more attention, playing time, more experience. I mean, you go to a school like Wichita State and you're a pretty good prospect, there's a good chance you can start all 4 years. You start all 4 years, you have that much more experience playing at that level. And then if you end up making a run, like I could just only imagine what it's like to be a senior on this Wichita State team. Pretty much being unknown for your 4 years at college. And then in your final year, you're just making end up in the Final Four. I mean, some of these guys are going to get looked by NBA scouts. They can't. I mean, everyone is watching these games. Everyone is seeing this team. So I think that it's a great opportunity for them, and a story like this is only going to make high school players think twice about where they want to go to college.
Yeah, I after watching that guy Armstead last night, I find it hard to believe how he wouldn't get a serious look and actually. I mean, I don't know. He just looked filthy yesterday, and I find it hard to believe how he wouldn't have a legitimate shot of getting drafted. Because I mean, these are also the top tier games that NBA scouts I think hold a little more value in than any regular season game, right? So
well, look at the Butler Bulldogs. For example, 5 or 6 years ago, nobody knew of Butler. Now, they've made a couple final appearances in the past couple of years. They came out of nowhere, really. And now, if you look at people like Shelvin Mack, Gordon Hayward, who came from these, small programs, both of them got drafted into the NBA, where I'm sure going into that season they didn't think they had really any chance of being an NBA prospect, and now they're in the NBA. So, it turns up the volume there when you get down to such a high pressure game like an NBA Final Four, whatever the case may be.
Yep. No, totally. So in terms of, I mean, there's a stud matchup tonight. Why don't we talk about the game that's going on later tonight? Louisville Duke. I mean, can we talk out that game, because I feel like that's just going to be such a good battle. No.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game. I really have no predictions there. I mean, Duke's always tough. Curry's nice, got a great 3-point shot when he's on. Louisville is just big and physical, and Peyton Seaver's nice. I think they got a good inside-out game, but it's going to be a battle. I think it's going to be a very close game throughout. But I guess if I had to make a prediction, I see Louisville winning by about 3 points.
Yeah.
That's what you see? With Louisville winning by 3?
I don't know. I mean, to me, I think it's the coaching matchup that's more interesting. Pitino, Krzyzewski. I mean, I think I was reading somewhere there like the last time they met in the tournament was in like the 90s. So I think it'll be a good matchup because those two coaches are so great. I think it'll be a close game. I would give Duke the edge. I saw Louisville play in the Big East tournament. I wasn't too impressed with them. They definitely are a good team. Civ is a great point guard. They can knock down shots, but I don't know. There's something about Duke. Duke's been underrated this whole year, and I don't know. I could definitely see them going to the finals. I could see Duke winning it all.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I kind of when I make my picks, although I pick Louisville, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I guess Louisville. They made it to the national championship last year, and something's giving me. I'm getting a last minute feeling that I think it might have been a better bet to pick Duke because I think I had them playing Duke. Yeah, I had Louisville Duke, and I have something's telling me that Duke's gonna end up winning this game, and I just get like that. I don't know. Do you ever get that feeling like the people? What's up?
Don't succumb to peer pressure, bro.
It's not peer pressure. I don't know what it is.
Pick your instincts, bro. Let's go Louisville.
Yeah, we'll go Louisville. I mean, that's what I got on my bracket, so I guess we'll go that. But I'm not feeling as strong as I was, let's say, a week ago or 2 weeks ago when I made this, when I made that bracket. Duke looks good, man. Duke is solid. They're so good.
Yeah, no, they're a good team. Definitely a good team.
And if their point guard Curry gets hot, like he torched, I don't know. There must be something genetic there that they've got great. It is something genetic. Dale Curry was like an amazing NBA player. So, but what was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't know. Their point guard Curry kind of would scare me. But that's an amazing matchup. Now that I think about it, him and Siva would be. Yeah, this game has just like got greatness written all over it. I feel like.
Yeah.
And let me see.
I'm reading about this right now. So, the last time that Krzyzewski and Pitino went against each other was in 1992. It was the year after Leitner and Grant Hill had won the national championship. Just like crazy to think about
say that one more time.
That was. So, Krzyzewski and Pitino met the tournament in 1992, and that was the year after Duke had won with Leitner, Christian Leitner, and Grant Hill.
Jeez. So
I mean, that's a while ago. I mean, we're talking like 21 years ago, and that's just crazy to think that they've been coaching and successful for that long.
What team was Pitino coaching then?
That is a good question.
Definitely not Louisville. Kentucky?
Might have been. Let me see. I don't know. Can't find it in this article. Give it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pitino, he's been like around the block and back in terms of different.
It was Kentucky, yeah. He coached Kentucky from 1989. Sorry. Yeah, 1980 to 1997. And before that, he was the coach of the Knicks.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, the Gill Knicks. We could have a separate discussion about them. We'll save that for later in the day. No.
Would it be a very professional conversation?
Huh.
What do you mean? They're on a 7-game winning streak. Give them a break.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to the game tonight.
They beat Toronto and Charlotte and.
Hey, they beat Memphis.
They beat Memphis.
Oh yeah, Memphis. They did beat Memphis.
And they beat Toronto twice.
All without Tyson Chandler. Just on the side.
We'll see if they do any work in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they've got anyone have Channel 2 on right now? They've got Syracuse getting interviewed right now.
Yeah.
So they're already in the Final Four, and they're gonna play the winner of this Michigan-Florida game, right? Syracuse versus Michigan or Florida, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Cuse right now. I think the way Cuse is playing, I think they're. I think they keep playing this way. I think they're going to take it down.
It's going to be a sick Final Four now that you think about it. I mean, like whether Louisville or Duke wins, that either one of those teams going up against Wichita State is going to be amazing. I feel like an amazing game, just because this Wichita State team is obviously the real deal. I don't think that they're any fluke. I think that they'll be competitive with whoever they play of either of those two powerhouses. But then when it comes to the other side of the bracket, Syracuse versus either Florida or, hopefully for my sake, Michigan, I feel like that is going to be an amazing matchup as well. So I feel like both games in the Final Four are, prone to be amazing games. Do you agree?
Nah.
No?
I don't agree.
What don't you
I just don't think Wichita State's gonna really give either Duke or Louisville much of a game. I do think that regardless of whether it's Florida or Michigan, and it's looking like it might be Michigan, we'll see what happens in the second half. I mean, a Michigan-Syracuse or a Florida-Syracuse game, those would be really, really good games. I prefer to see Michigan-Syracuse just from the way that they're playing right now.
Victor, I am trying to... Blinder, you can go ahead and chime in if you want, but I'm looking at this bracket right now for a second because I'm going to call out my man Victor on something.
All right.
Hold on, I just got to find it. Hold on a second. Where's Wichita State? Wichita State. So they beat Pittsburgh, and then they beat Gonzaga, and then they beat Wisconsin. Is that correct?
Nope.
Ohio State.
Nope.
Okay, yeah, I'm getting confused. Okay, then they beat Ohio State.
No, they beat LaSalle.
They beat LaSalle?
No, they beat LaSalle, and then they beat Ohio State. Yeah.
Okay.
No, they beat Gonzaga in the second round.
Yeah, and then in the third round, they beat LaSalle.
Right, then they beat LaSalle, right.
Okay, and then they just beat Ohio State. So you don't think that those... I mean, like, okay, Gonzaga, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. They always have good regular season, but then scrub it. But, like, that Ohio State win yesterday and beating Pittsburgh, I mean, you're really just not holding much value in that at all. Victor.
Well, I think Pittsburgh is an okay team. I don't think they're a great team. I think Ohio State was a good team, but Ohio State, I mean, they were struggling in this tournament. They struggled to beat Iowa. They struggled to beat Arizona. And even came down to the wire. So to me, they were tired. They weren't playing their best ball. And Wichita State was playing best ball. So like that combination definitely, I think, favored Wichita State. I'm not taking anything away from them. Like, I think they're a good team. I just don't think they're going to be able to compete with the likes of Duke or Louisville.
Right, because they're just you're basically considering them like arguably the best teams in the country, as opposed to like top 20, top 30 teams in the country that they've had to play and beat, or top 50 teams. Like you're okay, I got you.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I don't know. I saw that game yesterday, and yeah, Ohio State came back, but Wichita State was in total control of that game before like whatever it was, like the 8 or 10 minute mark. Or maybe even earlier. They might have had control for even longer than that. But I don't know, man. I mean, like they came to play and they looked good doing it, and like they let them get back in the game towards the end. But I don't know. I mean, just looking at that guy that was blocking shots, he's going to clearly be able to match up against any of the big men on Duke or Louisville, and then that point guard Armstead. Is right. I think he'll have a tough job having to play against Siva or Curry, but I mean, from the looks of it yesterday against that guy on Ohio State that he had to play against, he did was pretty favorable. So I'm definitely
Max,
ready.
let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What conference is Wichita State from?
I have no idea. Like Mountain West or something? I don't know.
They're from the Missouri Valley Conference. Can you name 3 other teams in the Missouri Valley Conference?
I cannot, but I'm going to go and look up their schedule from early in the season right now as we're talking. So 1 second. I want to see who they played.
They've played no one, dude. They've played no one. They beat Creighton when Creighton was ranked 12th. And then they proceeded to...
Did Wichita State even win the MVC tournament?
I couldn't even tell you that. And I don't think so, because their last game of the season was a loss to Creighton.
Which one are they in? Which I'm just looking on ESPN. Which is their conference again? Did you say?
Missouri Valley.
Missouri Valley. Okay, let me find it. Missouri Valley. Okay, Wichita State. They were 30-8 this season, or that might include the NCAA tournament games, but whatever. Let's see. Oh no. Uh-oh. That's an advertisement. Sorry.
And Blidner, they lost to Creighton in the championship.
You did, right? That's what I figured.
Journey to Atlanta is brought to you by Alfani, only at Macy's.
My bad.
Yeah, but that just goes to show you, the ups and downs of something like the March Madness tournament. Because look, Creighton just beat Wichita State in the finals, when it was a heads-up match, and now Creighton lost in the second round. And
to Duke.
That's
what I'm saying.
I know, but I think if Wichita State had played Duke by now, yes, they might have lost. But it just goes to show you that you never know what's going to happen because Wichita State's in the Final Four, where Creighton didn't even make the Sweet 16.
Right.
You got to look at it. They beat Wichita State, just beat a 2 seed, which is Ohio State, which is Duke's a 2 seed. They had the opportunity to play the.
Yeah, and Duke beat up on Creighton.
All right, so I have their schedule.
They're both 2 seeds, is what I'm saying.
I'm looking for. I want their full season schedule.
I don't see Wichita.
What are you, first time on the internet?
Really
you don't want to know who they played.
I had to go on my phone because an advertisement popped up and I closed out my window. And I don't want to.
I just thoroughly see Wichita State putting up a fight, and you're making it seem like they're going to.
We'll see.
Yeah, we shall.
Yeah, I mean they did get beat. You said that they lost to. It's saying that they lost to Creighton, and you're saying that Duke beat up on Creighton. What was that you said before?
Yeah, I mean Duke beat Creighton 16.
Jeez. All right, I'm looking at some of the
matchups.
Yeah, they played some really scrubby teams. You're right, Victor. I'm looking at their stuff right now. I'm seeing Northern Illinois and Southern Illinois, Bradley. I don't even know what these schools are.
And Wichita State didn't even win the conference. That's the funniest part.
Yeah, they didn't. So maybe they. I don't know.
I mean, they got hot at the right time. I mean, they have confidence. They got hot. They started beating teams, and I think that's what it takes in this tournament is to go on the run and to play your best basketball season the last 6 games of the season, and those games aren't even guaranteed. So I think that's definitely important. And I'm not going to discredit them. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't even see them putting up a fight. But hey, we'll see, right? That's why they're going to play the game, and that's why I'm here on the couch.
Right. Yeah. No. I'm seeing their most notable wins are University of Iowa, which wasn't in the tournament this year. DePaul, and that's all I'm seeing. So yeah. I mean, you do have a point when you say that. And I can't name any of these schools. I've never heard of any of them, the ones that they played. So they're in the... Yeah, no idea. That's all right. All right, so we got a 13-point game. All right. So any other particular games that we haven't actually covered or taken a look at that I'm forgetting? I mean, we could talk about this Michigan squad, but I'll be a little biased. I picked them because when I saw them play in the regular season, I know that they kind of their ending of the season wasn't very good, but some of the games that I watched mid-season, um, like not only did I know that they had they have Glenn Robinson's son, so clearly and then Tim Hardaway's son on the team, so these kids are clearly skilled players. But I watched them earlier in the season, a few games, and I don't know. I like their coach John Beeline. I'm a big fan of his, and I know that like last year they like got bounced out early, and I knew that they had these studs this year. So I don't know. Something was just giving me I had a strong feeling about them for some reason throughout a majority of the season, and I don't know. When it came time to fill out the bracket, I like had Louisville, Michigan, and I was flipping back and forth, and I was just like, for bracket purposes, everyone's gonna pick Louisville, so it's just if I want any shot of winning, you want to just take like that team which the team in the finals that most people aren't going to choose, right? And just hope for the best. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, right now Michigan looks nice. I mean, I think this guy Mitch McGarry is coming along, playing his best basketball of the season by far, and that's obviously right now is the time to do so. So
Right.
between him and Trey Burke and Glenn Robinson, Tim Hardaway, they're going to be tough to beat.
Exactly.
I don't know, man. Here comes Florida. You guys better watch this game.
Yeah. All right.
It's a game of runs.
it's right. Let's go.
I think Michigan's going to take this down by 6 to 8 points. I don't see Florida really making this too interesting, but like I said, who knows? It is the tournament.
It's an 11-point lead, and there's 15 minutes left.
They're one of those teams that were overrated as well.
Just curious on a personal note, could you see like I want to imagine like when it's fantasy football time, you guys would have no desire to talk like on a platform like Vonvo when a game's actually going on, but for something like NCAA where let's say it's not like your number one sport, can you like see yourself talking and watching sports at the same time, or it's more sports is like something you got to be sitting down and watching intently, like intensely? Can't be talking like other sports fanatics while watching games.
I wouldn't make a habit of sitting and talking on certain sports, but if you ask me to do it every once in a while, I could do it for you.
Yeah, no, I was just curious, more personal.
Cool.
Let's go. Yeah, I think more so for like post game and pre game talk makes a lot more sense. For you utilizing the platform for. You know what I mean?
I mean, I've always said I could be a commentator, so I wouldn't mind.
No doubt. All right. Well, what do you call it? This game's back on at actually in like 20 minutes. We have another discussion starting that I'm gonna have to record on my computer. So maybe we'll kind of wrap up there if that makes sense. Watch the game. You know what I mean?
All right. Sounds good, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. And it'll be good to have this additional video on sports because we don't really focus on it too often. So it'll be good to have. So thanks so much for using it and coming on.
All right, bye. Later, man.
Later,
boys.